Hello, beautiful people. It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video. This is from the channel Anna Oop, titled Cassie's Testimony Exposes Diddy's Disturbing Freak Dungeon in Court. All right, we're going to check this together, still on the Diddy trial. At this point, is getting pretty interesting, which we're going to check, and I'll love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in.
Y'all, it is officially happening. Cassie just blew the lid off of Diddy's freaky empire, and the courtroom ain't never been this shook. I'm talking about real life horror stories, not just the wild sex parties or drugs. I'm talking blackmail, trafficking, beatdowns, and a hidden freak off dungeon that got jurors gripping their seats and fans online losing their damn minds. This ain't just a messy breakup or some tabloid gossip. This is a federal RICO case. And Cassie, she didn't just testify. She exposed what the industry has been protecting for years. Remember back in November 2023 when Cassie dropped that civil suit against Diddy and it got settled overnight for $20 million? We thought that was the end of it, but nah, that was just the warm-up. Now she's back, and this time it's in a federal court under oath, spilling everything she's held in for over a decade. And I mean everything. From being drugged up and pimped out in luxury hotels, to being dragged by her hair in public, to watching Diddy play revenge porn of her on a commercial flight. Cassie's story is unraveling Diddy's legacy one freak off at a time. And the craziest part? These freak-offs weren't no one-time threesomes. Oh no. According to Cassie and other witnesses, this was an organized network of trafficking, coercion, blackmail, and hush money run by a man the industry once called a mogul. So let's get into the dark, disturbing truth about what really went down in Diddy's so-called freak-off dungeon and why this trial might finally bring it all crashing down. Cassie Ventura, the government's star witness, took the stand for days. By the end of it, she was in tears, the jury was stunned, and Diddy's team looked like they saw a ghost. She started with the moment she almost ended her life 2 years ago. She revealed that she left her house planning to walk into traffic. She could not take the flashbacks anymore. She said her husband, Alex Fine, stopped her that day, and that's when she finally got therapy and decided to speak out. Now, y'all already know about the freak-offs, but this time Cassie explained how deep it really went. She said Diddy controlled her with explicit footage, and anytime she wanted to leave or was seen with someone else, he'd threaten to leak it. Like that time that she started messing with Kid Cudi, Cassie said that Diddy told her, if you don't act right, I'll release those tapes and I'll blow up Cudi's car. And guess what? Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. In court, she broke down describing one incident on a commercial flight where Diddy pulled out a video of one of the freak-offs and played it with passengers just feet away, all to punish her for arguing with him earlier that day. Y'all.
And yet, people still blame Cassie or say, ask, why didn't she leave? Or why can't she leave? Like, I'm still trying to understand the level at which people be like, or just want to play or downplay this. Like, she wasn't stuck. Do you even say no to some powerful people? Like, oh, stop it.
Exploded in his driveway. In court, she broke down describing one incident on a commercial flight where Diddy pulled out a video of one of the freak-offs and played it with passengers just feet away, all to punish her for arguing with him earlier that day. Y'all, this man ain't just twisted, he was out of control. Total denomination, and what Cassie described was something straight out of a horror movie. She called it his kingdom. She said everything revolved around him, and she wasn't the only one saying it. When Cassie called it a freak-off, she wasn't being dramatic. She was describing a full-on operation. This wasn't just a couple of wild nights, this was systematic. She said these freak-offs went down in hotels, penthouses, private homes, and even Diddy's own crib. We're talking New York, LA, Vegas, Ibiza, Miami, and even the islands like Turks and Caicos. Sometimes it would be in hotels, sometimes it would be at his house. His staff would set the rooms up. They would bring Astroglide, baby oil, condoms. If anything ran out, they would call downstairs for more or send security. And the freaky part? The hotel staff and Diddy's own team were allegedly in on it. Cassie said that she was the one tasked with finding escorts online. She'd show Diddy their pics and he'd approve, and then she would book their flights, set up the rooms, and make sure they got paid. $1,500 to $6,000 in cash. Always cash. She never told his staff about the acts themselves, but they knew. They cleaned up the rooms after, they bought the materials, they handled the doors. Some allegedly stood guard outside. Then came Carrie Morgan, Cassie's ex-best friend of 17 years. She got on the stand and said she once saw Diddy drag Cassie down a 50-yard hallway by her hair because she took too long in the bathroom. And it didn't stop there. Morgan said that after that infamous 2016 Intercontinental Hotel assault, Diddy showed up to Cassie's LA apartment with a hammer in his hand trying to break the door down. She said she was looking through the peephole and he was banging with a hammer. Diddy did not care whether he could have her that night. That wasn't the first time Carrie said that he got violent. In 2018, while at Cassie's house, she claims Diddy grabbed her by the neck and hit her in the head with a wooden hanger while yelling about Cassie cheating. She said she ended up in urgent care with a concussion, vomiting, and dizzy. And that's when their friendship ended. She said Cassie offered her $30,000 to sign an NDA and never speak on it again. And then we've got David James, Diddy's former personal assistant who worked 20-hour days at Bad Boy Entertainment. He told the court that when he was hired, an exec pointed out a picture of Diddy and told him, "This is Mr. Combs' kingdom. We are all here to serve it." He said that Diddy's team was militarized. Uncle Paulie, his head of security, carried a switch. Everyone else carried licensed weapons. David told the court that he once overheard Diddy brag about Cassie saying, "I got her right where I want her. She's young. She's very moldable." According to James, Cassie told him she could not leave. She said Diddy controlled her career, he paid her allowance, and he paid her rent. James broke down crying while describing how she once smiled over a track list she made, like a kid finally being seen, and then disappeared again into the kingdom. Now, here is where it gets disturbing on a...
That's the trap. And that is it. Again, for people asking why didn't she leave or why can't she leave, try dealing with somebody who is very powerful, influential, or work for them. Especially for people who's never been used to people telling them no before, or who are not used to people telling them no before. Try that for a moment and see how that's going for you.
Whole new level. Cassie testified that Jonathan Odie, one of the male escorts she was forced to have sex with during a freak-off, contracted herpes.
And I was like a slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won.
He later sued Diddy after getting the STD and said that Cassie frequently had mouth sores after these encounters, suggesting she had it too, but never disclosed. Odie agreed to an NDA for $5 million. That hush money was meant to bury the herpes case before it got too public. Cassie admitted to her relationship with Odie in court, which now ties medical harm directly to these freak-offs, a potential bombshell for the racketeering charge. And y'all, this isn't just about Diddy and Cassie anymore, because Usher, who was close with Diddy and often stayed at his mansion, was sued by 3 women who claimed he gave them herpes. While those suits mysteriously disappeared, the dots are starting to connect. No confirmation that Usher attended the freak-offs, but with his name in the mix and Diddy's dungeon being exposed, people are side-eyeing everything now. Prosecutors leaked some of the injury photos to the press, and they are brutal. Gashes above Cassie's eye, swollen lips. Cassie laid out how they would move escorts across state lines for the freak-offs. Combs' team handled the travel bookings, hotels were reserved under shell names, and Cassie would handle the approval list, pick out the girls, and handle the money. Diddy's staff would clean up the room after the act. This fits the exact definition of federal trafficking, coercion, interstate transport, and commercial sex. Legal analysts say that the fact that his business was used to facilitate this through employees, offices, budgets, means that prosecutors could argue this wasn't just freaky sex. This was organized crime. Diddy wasn't just running wild, he was running a system, a whole machine built on fear, loyalty, blackmail, and cash. Cassie wasn't the only one signing NDAs. Her ex-best friend, Carrie Morgan, testified that after Diddy assaulted her in 2018, choking her and smacking her with a wooden hanger, Cassie offered her $30,000 to close the case. Morgan says the money wasn't from Cassie. It was from Diddy himself, funneled through Cassie to keep her mouth shut. That payout mirrors what Diddy offered Jonathan Odie, the escort who got herpes. He was paid $5 million after signing his NDA. Diddy's former assistant, David James, said the whole Bad Boy Entertainment office operated like a cult. You didn't question the boss. You didn't ask what went down in the studio late at night. You didn't talk about what you saw in Miami or Vegas or Turks. This is Mr. Combs' kingdom. The exact...
Again, for those that are asking why didn't Cassie leave, hear it for yourself. Now, again, let's continue. Because it seems like people are asking some questions that shouldn't even be asked in the first place. Because, like, if she had come back, said or spoke anything about Diddy before, prior to all of this, people would have believed, because I mean, it's Diddy.
Signing his NDA. Diddy's former assistant, David James, said the whole Bad Boy Entertainment office operated like a cult. You didn't question the boss. You didn't ask what went down in the studio late at night. You didn't talk about what you saw in Miami or Vegas or Turks. This is Mr. Combs' kingdom, the exec told James. We're all here to serve it. And that kingdom kept tight security. His head of security, Uncle Paulie, carried weapons. Nobody went against him. It was an empire of manipulation. Outside the courtroom, Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, was asked what he thought of the prosecution. They're doing a great job, he said. The truth gotta come out.
You're the most credible person we have. You're Diddy's ex-bodyguard. Tell the folks, man. You don't want to say much? Come on,
you already
Gene.
did it, Playboy.
Come on, Gene. You're always saying something. Give him something here. What do you think? You think Diddy's going to get off, or you think what are we looking like?
I think the prosecution is doing a great job. They need to keep up the good work.
Right.
I think they went real lenient on them because they could have put in way more charges than they did, and that's it.
Deal also threw shade at Diddy's defense team for trying to destroy the credibility of Don Richard, the ex-Dainty Kane member who testified that Diddy beat Cassie with a skillet filled with eggs. Yes, a skillet.
What do you think about Don Richard? Miss Westmoreland was like, the lawyer was destroying her on the stand, her credibility. She had 8 different times she met with the feds, and they're like, why did you not mention anything about Diddy threatening your life in all that time? Do you believe Don Richard?
A lot of people are traumatized, man. You know, you got to look at it that way. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at something that this guy holding their life in their hands.
Right, and that makes a difference. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything you do.
But the media got weird. Instead of focusing on her testimony, a reporter asked Dawn about Diddy's manhood outside the court.
Yeah, how big is Diddy?
Whoa.
What?
Come on now, man. Monetization. You're going too far. Yeah, man.
People are actually very crazy and wild, because why are you asking somebody this? Like, even if she got to say it, what's your business with his manhood? No sense, like insensitivity is insane. Who does that? Who does that?
You're going too far. Yeah, man.
I want to get my ass beat for 10 million.
That's how messed up all of this is. A woman talks about domestic violence and the media asks about size. That's why these dudes keep getting away with it.
Exactly.
Distraction and deflection. Now, this might be unrelated, or it might say everything. An old video resurfaced of Diddy kissing his mom on the lips while getting an IV drip. He says, "I'm freshly dipped," and she giggles.
She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrated. What's up, Mom?
Everything's good, baby. I mean, with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
Y'all can make your own conclusions, but it gives weird energy, and people are saying if this is the vibe in private, imagine what went down in the dungeon. And here's where it gets really scary. Don Richard testified that Diddy once said he could make people go missing. She said that after witnessing his violence and intimidation, it felt like a lethal threat. She also confirmed details about Diddy's use. Still, the threats she described match what Cassie said, what Carrie said, and what others fear. This man ran things like a mob boss. Legal experts say the prosecution ain't just trying to prove domestic violence, they're trying to connect it to RICO, Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. That means they have to prove that this wasn't just a messed up relationship, but a criminal enterprise involving commercial sex distribution, transportation across state lines, coercion, financial control, threats, and blackmail, and payouts to silence witnesses. They've already established the trafficking patterns. The NDAs and hush money show intent to cover up. The use of employees, assistants, security, and travel agents, that proves infrastructure. And that's what RICO is all about. Enterprise level crime. Diddy's team is scrambling. They've already tried to flip the narrative, calling this kinky, not criminal. But when your assistants are flying in escorts, your execs are testifying about beatings, and you're threatening to release tapes, it doesn't matter how kinky it is. The defense is leaning on consent. Diddy's facing the kind of charges you don't just walk away from. Racketeering conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. If found guilty, even one of these can land him behind bars for decades. But combined, this is a life sentence, and not just a symbolic one either. Real prison, real time. Here's what folks aren't realizing. This case isn't just about Diddy. It's about setting precedent. If they take Diddy down, it sends a message to every other industry titan who's been protected for years by NDAs and money. It signals that RICO charges are no longer just for mob bosses. They apply to music moguls too. And this is how feds cracked the mafia. Now they're using the same blueprint in hip-hop. And insiders say federal agents are already investigating other potential targets who are a part of this underground network. Look, even if Diddy somehow beats this case, his brand is finished. Artists are jumping ship, sponsors are gone, Revolt TV is on ice. Public opinion isn't recovering. You don't bounce back from federal racketeering trials involving coerced or herpes outbreaks, and hammer break-ins. And now people are dragging his past too. Even old friends like 50 Cent are clowning him online, hinting at what's coming. Courtroom reporters have said the jury looks overwhelmed. Several members were visibly disturbed during Cassie's emotional testimony, especially when she described being played on a plane like a human warning video. Others reportedly winced during Carrie Morgan's testimony about being choked and beaten. And when those injury photos hit the projector, jurors turned away. That's the stuff that sticks. Not legal arguments, not contracts, not semantics. Pain leaves a mark. Let's be real, this wasn't about sex. It was about power. Did he use sex to control, to humiliate, and to remind people that he owned them?
Yeah.
He used money to trap them, fame to distract them, and fear to keep them. Even his love was a leash. Cassie said he called her young and moldable. That ain't a compliment. That's a predator talking about a project. And now the project broke free and burned the blueprints. David James, the assistant, broke down crying talking about Cassie's smile when she thought she could finally release music. That's what this whole trial is about. A woman who lost her voice, got it back, and decided to use it loud enough for the whole world to hear. Carrie Morgan lost a friendship just for being in the room. Dawn Richard risked her career by speaking truth to power. And the prosecution, they are not playing. They brought tapes, photos, witnesses, and a clear as day trial. If justice is real, it's about to land hard on Diddy's head. This trial is one of the biggest celebrity takedowns in modern history. Bigger than Weinstein, bigger than R. Kelly, because this isn't just about one abuser. It's about a whole industry built to protect them.
Yeah.
Like if you believe victims like Cassie deserve justice. Comment what y'all think about the evidence. Who else knew? Subscribe and turn on that bell. We've got more coming. Because if Cassie's gonna risk it all to speak her truth, the least we can do is listen. Y'all?
Exactly. Listen. I don't appreciate it when people be like, oh, well, they're not going to listen or pay attention and whatnot. Yeah, people may decide not to want to pay attention to say because of some details they're uncomfortable with. But when people start asking insensitive questions, just like the other one is asking the size of Diddy's manhood, make it make sense. Make it make sense. What has that got to do with this? Well, be do with an interview or you asking a question. And then people be like, oh, why can't she leave? Well, I'll leave you to answer that question for yourself. But obviously, all of this is getting somewhere, which doesn't even look good for Diddy, regardless of the case. But let me know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.